Hello friends, welcome to another video. Having lost all hope for the next book in a Song of Ice and Fire series, I was looking for a book that could give a similar vibe to it. And then, while my search for some amazing grimdark series, I stumbled upon Joe Abercrombie's The First Law Trilogy. This is considered as a flagship of grimdark genre and I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. I'm here to tell you all the good and the underwhelming aspect of this book series so you can decide for yourself whether you should pick it up or not. So let's unveil the pages right after the intro.
The First Law series by Joe Abercrombie consists of three books: The Blade Itself, Before They Are Hanged, and The Last Argument of Kings. The story is set in a gritty and cynical fantasy world. The Union, a once grand empire, is on the brink of collapse. It is riddled with corruption, dirty politics, and war. The story follows Logain Ninefingers, the Bloody Nine, Sandan Glocta, the crippled inquisitor, Zezal Dan Luther, the pompous fencer, Bias, the first of Magi, and Pharaoh Malzin, the daughter of demons and the mother of vengeance, all woven together in the morally grey tapestry of the First Law series. I love this series, so I mostly have good things to say about it. Let's go over them one by one.
Say one thing about Joe Abercrombie, say he knows how to write good characters. The character work is the most beautiful aspect and it is written beautifully by Abercrombie. They are not black and white and heroes or villains, but they are morally grey, and that's what makes them likable and relatable. Joe Abercrombie is one of the finest at writing character voice as well. He's so good at it that if you pick any book from this book anywhere, you will immediately recognize who the character is. And that's what the beauty of character voice writing in this. My favorite one is that of Glocta because that inner monologue brings much needed humor to this very grimdark series. You also start to root for this character even when they have done terrible things. And there are two reasons for that. One is that they are trying to do better despite coming from a dark and violent past. Another is that the character voice is written so well that you are almost always in a character's head and you recognize and start to identify their motivation and why they are doing what they are doing. So, overall, as Logan Ninefingers said, that's all we can do. We are trying to do better. As character work is the main highlight of this series, I will quickly go over some of the characters one by one.
Logain Ninefingers is a barbarian with a fearsome reputation. Haunted by a violent past, he desperately wants to escape. But Logain, as we slowly discover, is far more than just muscle and mayhem. He grapples with an inner demon, the monstrous Bloody Nine, constantly threatening to burst forth. As we follow his arc, we see glimpses of a surprisingly moral conscience battling to stay afloat. Logan may not be a typical hero, but his struggle for redemption makes him impossible to ignore. Once a renowned swordsman, Glocta is now a bitter shell, his body broken by torture. He channels his rage into his new profession as an inquisitor, extracting confessions through pain and manipulation. Yet, beneath the cynicism and cruelty, there is a spark of wit and intelligence. Glocta's inner monologues are laced with darkly humorous observations, offering a twisted perspective on the world around him. Despite his terrible deeds, his desperate search for meaning in a cruel world earns him an unexpected empathy. The pompous fencer is a nobleman, a dandy, and a skilled fencer. Jazal initially comes across as arrogant and entitled. His naivety and elitism make him easy to dislike, and many readers never fully warm up to him. However, Jazal's journey through the trilogy is one of humbling growth. He faces harsh realities that shatter his illusion of grandeur, forcing him to confront his flaws and redefine his values. While he may never be everyone's cup of tea, watching his transformation from entitled brat to a man reckoning with his mistakes is oddly satisfying. Bias is shrouded in mystery, an ancient sorcerer pulling the strings from the shadows. He manipulates and exploits others, playing a long game for power and control. While his motives remain ambiguous, his undeniable intelligence and cunning command respect and fear. Bias's presence keeps the reader guessing, constantly questioning his true intentions and wondering what grand schemes he might be weaving. Ferumalgin is mother of vengeance and a daughter of demons. From ashes of trauma, she crafts weapons of steel and rage, seeking justice, redemption, perhaps even a sliver of warmth she has lost. Abercrombie's genius lies in his ability to breathe life into flawed and complex characters. They make mistakes, harbor dark desires, and grapple with personal demons. And that's precisely what makes them so compelling. These aren't your typical one dimensional heroes and villains, they are mirrors reflecting our own imperfections.
I'm a big fan of detailed battle sequences, and these books deliver so well on that. Readers are taken head first into bloody trenches where the clanks of steel meet the screams of dying. Every blow feels real, every injury makes you wince. You don't feel like a spectator, but you feel like a soldier in the muck, with sweat and blood stinging your eyes and adrenaline pumping like wildfire. The action sequences are masterfully choreographed using words. You are dodging arrows, you're feeling the desperation of the soldier, and you are experiencing the world and battle around you with the swordsman's blur of steel. Abercrombie ditches knights in shining armors and dives into the unflinching and brutal realities of war. He forces us to understand its true cost. He introduces us to scars etched on the souls of survivors and war's moral ambiguity. Another aspect that I truly liked was the political intrigue existent in this book. Abercrombie throws you into a political swamp where every alliance is a gamble and powers are shifting like shadows. He focuses on a gritty storytelling filled with cunning advisors, scheming nobles, all with their own dark and wicked games. Abercrombie draws from real politics, where power struggles are full of self interest, they're full of ruthless pragmatism, and alliances are being broken and made for basis political advantages which can be gained out of them. This forces us to grapple with the amoral and gritty nature of political maneuver. Another amazing aspect of this book series is the absolutely magnificent dialogue writing. There are some dialogues that have stayed with me and are going to stay with me. I will read out some of them to you so that you can also enjoy. Cleverness is no guarantee of sensible behavior. Conscience is a burden we choose to bear. Morality is the lie we tell ourselves to make bearing it easier. Rules are for children. This is war, and the only crime in war is to lose. And the most iconic of them all is once you have got a task to do, it's better to do it than live with a fear of it. This is something that I am going to tell myself again and again, and you can do it too. Contrary to some readers who believe that the ending is very depressing, I kind of liked it because it remained true to the essence of grimdark that Joe Abercrombie was trying to portray. I also felt it in a very poetic sense that the story begins with Logan Ninefinger and ends with him. So it kind of feels like a full circle, but in a spiral kind of way, if that makes sense. While it is lauded and praised for its absolute amazing grimdark writing, the series is not without some of its underwhelming aspects as well. The first underwhelming aspect some of the readers may feel is the grimdark overload. So this series is not at all a hero versus villain story and a feel good story at all, which is typical of many fantasy books series. This story is completely full of dark and gritty and murky tales. The constant brutality and moral ambiguity of character may be refreshing for some, but may be a complete negativity overdose for some others. So, if you're not a fan of this kind of writing, then you may feel fatigued while reading this. Another thing to keep in mind is that the pacing of first book will feel a bit slower because it is highly character driven and builds on the character development, but the plot is little bit slower in the first book. In one of the interviews, Joe Abercrombie says that he does not look this book series as book 1, 2 and 3 but rather is a big book, and that makes a complete sense to me. I would recommend to persevere through all these 3 books to have the best experience that you can have in a grimdark world. Third underwhelming aspect that some readers feel, and you may also feel it, that the ending is kind of depressing. It leaves many of the threads open. It does not complete all the stories that you might hope for. And I, for one, felt it in a very poetic and literary way, but you may not like it as much. So that's one aspect that you have to take note of. So, what's the verdict? If you're okay with dark storytelling full of morally ambiguous characters with brutal battle scenes and amazing political intrigue. This is amazing book series and you should definitely pick this up. However, do keep in mind some of the underwhelming aspect or the con that you may feel that I have highlighted previously.
Thanks for watching the video. Please like and comment and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Until next time, happy reading.